Hello, third graders. We are going to be looking at the starting with the same slides that we did actually yesterday. So we're going to be focusing on social issues again, and I just want to briefly touch on them one more time before we start our read aloud. So social issues are problems or concerns in society. You may feel that you are the only one having trouble with something or facing a challenge, but social issues apply to many people. Here is the list that you saw yesterday of many social issues. Now, these are not all of them, but these are the ones that we are going to be focusing on. Poverty, homelessness, bullying, discrimination, disability, divorce, obesity, and materialism. And if you think back to yesterday, you actually got a brief description about what each of these are. So you should be experts now in knowing exactly what they mean. The book that we are reading today is titled Each Kindness. You may or may not have heard this before, but it is a wonderful book. And I am actually going to be showing you the pages, but I'm actually going to be physically looking at my own copy while I read it to you today. Okay, so let me go ahead and open it to the correct page, and then we will begin. That winter, snow fell on everything, turning the world a brilliant white. One morning, as we settled into our seats, the classroom door opened and the principal came in. She had a girl with her, and she said to us, "This is Maya." Maya looked down at the floor. I think I heard her whisper, "Hello?" We all stared at her. Her coat was open, and the clothes beneath it looked old and ragged. Her shoes were spring shoes, not meant for the snow. A strap on one of them had broken. Why do you think they're staring at her? What in the text would be a reason as to why they would be staring at her? Our teacher, Miss Albert, said, "Say good morning to our new student," but most of us were silent. The only empty seat was next to me. That's where our teacher put Maya. And on that first day, Maya turned to me and smiled, but I didn't smile back. I moved my chair, myself, and my books a little farther away from her. When she looked my way, I turned to the window and stared out at the snow. And every day after that, when Maya came to the classroom, I looked away and didn't smile back. So we don't know the girl's name. We only know Maya's name. But why do you think that the other girl slid her things over further away from her? Why would she do things like that? Why would she want the new girl, whose name is Maya, why would she want her to make her feel like that? How would that make you feel? My best friends that year were Kendra and Sophie. At lunchtime, we walked around the schoolyard, our fingers laced together, whispering secrets into each other's ears. Now you can clearly see in the picture, these are the girls with their fingers laced together, and then behind them, you can see Maya. And unfortunately, she's standing there, and she doesn't have anybody around her. One day, while we were near the slide, Maya came over to us. She held open her hand to show us the shiny jacks and tiny red ball she'd gotten for her birthday. "It's a high bouncer," she said, but none of us wanted to play. So Maya played a game against herself. That afternoon, when we got back into the classroom, Maya whispered to me, "Bet you can't guess who the new Jacks champion of the world is." Behind me, Andrew whispered, "Chloe's got a new friend. Chloe's got a new friend. She's not my friend," I whispered back. And now we know Chloe is the girl that sits beside Maya. We were now introduced to her name. The weeks passed. Every day we whispered about Maya, laughing at her clothes, her shoes, the strange food she brought for lunch. Some days Maya held out her hand to show us what she had brought to school: a deck of cards, pick-up sticks, a small tattered doll. Whenever she asked us to play, we said no. Now think back to that list at the very beginning, before I even started the book, and what social issue at this point do you think it would be? The days grew warmer and warmer. The pond thawed. Grass began growing where snow had once been. One day Maya came to school wearing a pretty dress and fancy shoes. But the shoes and the dress looked like they belonged to another girl before Maya, meaning that they looked like they were hand-me-downs, is what they are trying to convey. I have a new name for her, Kendra whispered. Never knew. Everything she has came from a secondhand store. We all laughed. Maya stood by the fence. She was holding a jump rope but did not come over to ask if we wanted to play. After a while, she folded it double, rolled the ends around each hand, and started jumping. She jumped around the whole schoolyard without stopping. She didn't look up once, just jumped, jumped, and jumped. At least she's playing, but it is still sad that she obviously has to play by herself. And I know that the other people are whispering about her, and she knows that they're whispering about her, but she doesn't necessarily know what they're exactly saying. But it's still not a good thing that's happening. The next day, Maya's seat was empty. In class that morning, we were talking about kindness. Miss Albert had brought a big bowl into class and filled it with water. We all gathered around her desk and watched her drop a small stone into it. Tiny waves rippled out away from the stone. This is what kindness does, Miss Albert said. Each little thing we do goes out like a ripple into the world. This reminds me of the book I read at the beginning of the year, that we fill each other's buckets. Then Miss Albert let us each drop the stone in, as we told her what kind things we had done. Joseph had held the door for his grandmother. Kendra helped change her baby brother's diaper. Even mean old Andrew had done something. I carried teacher's books up the stairs, he said, and Miss Albert said it was true. I stood there holding Miss Albert's rock in my hand, silent. Even small things count, Miss Albert said gently, but I couldn't think of anything, and passed the stone on. Maya didn't come to school the next day, or the day after that. Each morning I walked to school slowly, hoping this would be the day Maya returned, and she'd look at me and smile. I promised myself this would be the day I smiled back. Each kindness, Miss Albert had said, makes the whole world a little bit better. So unfortunately, Chloe is feeling guilty about the things that she had already done. But unfortunately, Maya has yet to come back to school. Do you think she will come back? Do you think she has moved? But Maya's seat remained empty. And one day, Miss Albert announced to the class that Maya would not be coming back. Her family had moved away, Miss Albert said. Then she told us to take out our notebooks. It was time for spelling. That afternoon, I walked home alone. When I reached the pond, my throat filled with all the things I wished I would have said to Maya. Each kindness I never did show. I threw small stones into it over and over, watching the way the water rippled out and away, like each kindness, done and not done. Like every girl somewhere holding a small gift out to someone, and that someone turning away from it. So here she's thinking about what happened in class when she dropped the stone into the water, and she's feeling guilty because she should have been a nicer person. I watched the water ripple as the sun set through the maples, and the chance of a kindness with Maya became more and more forever gone. So again, would she ever see her again? More than likely not. So she's never going to get the chance to apologize. She's never going to get the chance to smile at her. She's never going to get the chance to be a nice person. And I really think deep down that Chloe is a nice person. She just chose not to be nice at that point in time. And now she has lost her chance to be nice. So what would the social issue in this book, Each Kindness, be? And there can be more than one. So take a moment to think about it. Think of the list that I showed you at the very beginning. One of them that you should have come up with is for sure bullying. Because even though the girls weren't necessarily saying it to her face, they were still saying it and snickering about it. And because Maya was in the vicinity, she knew what was happening. She just didn't know exactly what was being said, but you can tell. So bullying would be one of them. And then the second one would be poverty. Because when she came to school that very first day, because of the clothing that she had on, the text had mentioned that she had hand-me-downs for clothes, that she had probably gotten them from a secondhand store, meaning like the Salvation Army or Goodwill and things like that. She had a broken shoe, one of the straps was broken, and in the middle of winter, she was wearing spring type shoes. So that would be the reason as to why it would be poverty. Okay, so hopefully you came up with those two for your social issues. All right, now on to the next part of your lesson.